Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. Hey, I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. I am covering The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 5, episode 11. First, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you all. Hopefully, you're having the day that you want to have. You're choosing to be around people that you want to be around, and you're away from people that trigger you. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to this channel if you are new. You can also leave your comments below. This is a heavy episode, y'all, but let's get on into it. Okay, so this is kind of a new day and new exploits and all this good stuff that's going on. I actually wrote stuff down. Bad weather. Whitney and Heather, they are planning an event, and they said everything was just so chaotic and so disastrous at Mary's home. We're going to see what we can do, and they're going to have an event that's around being a camp troop. They're going to have all these events, and then hopefully we can get everyone together and they can iron out their differences. What I will say, one thing I love at this point, that all these housewife shows aren't going to these shamans and all this stuff to act like we're really trying to air out our differences and be centered and be so this and that. Okay, y'all just come together and shading each other and nothing gets resolved. So I don't know what we're doing. Heather's, I'll get to that when I get to that because it's just so crazy. So they're gonna have a Camp Kumbaya. The dress attire is Girl Scout chic. Not high heels, but everything else can be whatever. Whitney's going to invite Brown, and she asked Heather, is that okay? She said, I know that it was big of you to apologize. That's not something you do. And then I had to think, so Heather, who's been a church girl all of her life, it's foreign to her to forgive people. I know you got kicked out of the church because you got divorced, so you just abandoned everything about the church, even though it seems like you really still want to be up in the church. But forgiveness is nowhere in your heart. So someone keeps putting on the timeline, they believe when Heather was in college and in church at the time, that she was this mean girl. And all I can really have to agree with that, because lady, but you're just so kind, but you're so forgiving and so tolerable of Jen Shaw, even though she blackened your eye. You lied for her. And you tried to pinpoint it on someone else. That is disturbing to me. And you distrusted Brown from jump. I get you had to have had your eye on her. I had my eye on her. Brown was not doing anything salty or shifty to anyone. I said I had to keep my eye on her, and it's been determined that that's not the way that Brown rolls. I don't know why we're in episode 11 and now you're saying, I got to get to know her. She thinks that Brown is sneaky. How is she sneaky? Then Heather says that I just don't want to be around my friends if we're talking, and then when I leave, you're talking about me behind my back. But that's the same doggone thing you do, and most of the rest of this cast does. So now it looks like you want to be in control of people, certain people, on what they do and don't do. But you can do it. And I don't like that type of spirit that you got here, you, Heather, because you just, that is so crazy. They got you as the face of the show, basically, you and Lisa. And guess what? This group evolves. And now they're starting to add new people on, and people that you're not really familiar with, which is kind of cool if you're trying to get to know them authentically, but you're not. You are willing to stomp some person to the ground. The first person that raised an eyebrow to you. I don't think that you're protective of this group. You just wanted to be a bully. And Brown said, I don't think so. And you don't know how to handle her. So at this point, you're kind of waving the white flag. I don't know what you do with the rest of the season towards her, but we shall see. But I'm sure that you're always going to be cautious of her because she is not one of the chosen people as far as I know you and you pass whatever acceptance that I have for you. So Whitney says, I know that we're inviting everyone, but I don't know how me and Meredith are going to be around each other after the last thing. Because Heather said, I love Meredith and I'm going to invite her and I need you to be okay with it. Then we get the flashback of when Whitney snatched Meredith's phone from her. And she said, I just wanted to turn up the volume. No. Bitch. Whitney should have gotten popped. And Meredith was more reserved than I would have been. But I still don't understand why social media and her is making fun of her in there, because you would not. It's the craziest thing. When it happens to the other person, you're okay until it happens to you. Then it's like all hell breaks loose. Anyways, let's move on. Meredith and Mary. Meredith has asked Mary to meet someplace at an art gallery. Mary is running behind, and that's worrying Meredith. She ends up FaceTiming Brooks, and he was like, "Why are you FaceTiming me?" Now, I know y'all online is going to say, like, Brooks is getting into the business. Like, no, he was minding his business. Also, his sister, Chloe, was with him at the time. It was Meredith that all of a sudden showed this concern. I guess she has this kind of interesting relationship with her children. Y'all know I love Meredith, but it's like you have this dependency on them in some type of way of handling your adult stuff at your age and wanting to bring your children in on some of that stuff. And I don't think it's not going to always look good for you. I'll just say that much. I'm not saying that it's bad, but Brooks was like, because Meredith was like, well, I think something may be off with her. I don't know. It's just unusual for her to act this way. And Brooks said, lean with that. Maybe there is something going on with her. Blah, 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 blah. For Meredith to actually say that, it's interesting to me because you sense something. And obviously, Meredith and Mary have a connection. I think Meredith is going by everything so wrong. You can sense that your friend is probably struggling, but you still want to run with this narrative that you were treated bad. That's not good, ma'am. And it makes what people say about you true. And I hate to have to go through all these truths because I actually love you, Meredith, but what are you doing this season? What are you doing? Anyways, Mary arrives. We had seen a scene prior where she's at home trying to see where Robert is. Robert Jr., he's not really answering the door, so she doesn't think that he's there at that point, So I guess she's like an hour late. Meredith is disturbed by that, and she's sending a clear message. Well, we find out later on that Meredith wanted her to meet out in Park City, not in Salt Lake City. I don't know. I guess it's like an hour away. And I think the narrative out there is that Mary was choosing to be late, and possibly because I don't think that Mary's that type of person to just do that, especially when you're supposed to meet somewhere. Events are something different. To meet up with someone to do whatever, collab, I don't think that that's her character. So anyways, Mary shows up, and Meredith asks, is everything okay? And Mary asks, as in what? Life and all that, and she said, we're good in that regards. She didn't say it like that. I am. I know where Meredith was coming from, but I don't think that Mary at that point wanted to open up to her, especially at how she felt like the relationship was going. So Meredith brings up what happened the other day, and she says it seemed like it was out of character. And Mary said, out of character for you or for me? Meredith says, her, Mary, and probably me as well. Mary said, you've been invited to so many homes. I invited you into my home, and I've never seen you walk out of anyone else's homes. And then she says that I didn't feel welcomed, so I left. And Mary's like, well, that's not being a friend, because I told you to stay there and let's work this out. You were thinking something else for whatever reason. And then Meredith says, well, clearly you've been harboring some hostility for me for some time. I said, Meredith, why would you use a buzzword like that? That is very problematic. That's just like what Heather was saying to Brown the other week when she visited her home. It was something along the lines of, I'm terrified. What do you mean you're terrified, Karen? Like, that is so crazy. Why would you say that? The choice words that some of these housewives use is so Karen-like, and it's so dangerous, and it's so problematic, especially whom you use them to. And even if you're using it to another white person, that is just like, you're crazy, and you're letting out the dog whistles on people. Hostility. As of yet, Meredith has not sat down within herself to recollect what was going on. Nobody else is even speaking to her and telling her the truth. Not even Miss Lisa Barlow. Meredith feels like Mary jumped on the bandwagon of coming at me and attacking me. And Mary says, I don't jump on bandwagons. What did you think this is? Thank you, Mary. And then Meredith was like, well, I gave you an olive branch and you come an hour late. And then Mary said, you know what? That's fine. Let me go, because we're not going to do this. Because now it's getting more heated, because everything that you are trying to accuse Mary of, she's debunking, and you're not really trying to come to a resolve. You're too busy trying to say that your feelings were hurt. Your feelings should not have been hurt. If you really listened, and if one of your friends really would have said something to you, even if you can't hear it right now, at least you know by watching this past episode, Meredith, what Mary was saying. And you should feel like a clown at this point. She said, let me just go. I know, you just go. You've used me for 3 years saying that Meredith has been there for Mary. I've always been in doubt of that. I was like glad that Mary had somebody near her, but at the same time, when things went down in season 2 and Jenny threw that glass, we thought nobody came after Mary. None of the women did. Meredith says that Seth went after her to see if she was okay. But y'all continued there at that scene. Jenny even said sorry for throwing that glass, and Jenny said, no, do what you want to do. That's why I stopped watching that show. That's when I said, and then production kept on filming. Like, what? And Bravo was going to keep her until they discovered her Facebook page of all this racist stuff. I said, my God, that's why I stopped watching Salt Lake City, because of that. Because I was looking at these racists in front of my face trying to be evil towards this woman. Y'all already was bringing up this cult stuff about her church. And that wasn't cool, especially when y'all won't really go deep dive into the whole Mormon scandals. But y'all want Rebecca over here to talk about all the weird stuff that's going on in Scientology. Whatever. There was a lot of racist stuff. And I promise, if Mary had never come back and is trusting you fools again, I would not be watching this show. So Meredith, I don't know. I don't know who was using who, but it seems like you were using her. And I love you, Meredith, still, but I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Let me move on, because I've been talking way too long. Lisa and Angie, they go to an aquarium. Henry's there along with, I think her daughter Allegra is there or whatever. Anyways, they finally hash things out, and I think they are about 6 or 7 episodes too late and should have already talked because you're close friends. Lisa is basically saying, I'm not saying that you got to fight for me, but at least have my back. Isn't what Lisa's saying is the same thing that Brown is saying? Like, what? Isn't what Lisa is saying what Brown was saying to her? And she acted like she couldn't get that. Angie apologizes, and also Angie says, I want you to hear me out. And how I seen things go on with you is some of the things that were going on with my mom. I think her mom got loud and belligerent with them as children and didn't have patience with them. That's what I think. She said that she would clam up and she would shut down and wouldn't acknowledge how she felt. And she feels like, I need a new type of relationship with you where I'm able to express how I feel. So at this point, Angie feels heard. Lisa's not getting loud and belligerent with her, so they're able to accept each other, and now they're besties again. According to that trailer, it doesn't look like that. So we're going to see about that. I can't believe how they're treating Brown, though. The ones that are friends, like Lisa. I cannot believe that. I just saw something from when they went to Bravo Fest in Miami. That is so crazy. How Lisa is treating Brown. And it just seems like it's just this hierarchy instead of friendship. Anyways, now we go on to Troop Beverly Hills. Y'all see that movie back in the day? It used to play all the time, so I know all about it. I'm Shelley Long, who was on Cheers back in the day, and also remember the Brady Bunch spoof that they had. So, anyways, they do all that crap while they're traveling. Lisa, Brown, and Meredith, they talk a little bit about Mary. Meredith just spills everything that Mary said, and Lisa's, oh my God, she said that? Angie and Mary says, she gives, like, Meredith was trying to put everything on me, Then she wanted to say how late I was. Well, rent something in Salt Lake City instead of Park City where you got to drive out an hour. But these folks act like y'all don't have call times and acting like you don't know what's up. It was to appear that Mary was late and being disrespectful to Meredith, but it wasn't. So, of course, Angie and Mary are shading her. And Mary says that she feels like Meredith is just like Lisa, just self-absorbed. I understand why they're friends. Then in the other car, they start talking about, I guess, Meredith and Brown were shocked that they got an invite and all that. And Brown was like, I'm surprised they were doing anything together after how Whitney was talking about Heather. And we grass clutch pearls again, I guess. Blah, 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 blah. We'll find out a little bit later in just a few minutes about that. Brown, she says that I brought this was a potluck. I brought my own food. I'm going to be just eating my own because I don't know what anyone's putting in this food. I don't blame you for other reasons too. Malay, she shows back up. I said, oh, I forgot you were here. They keep saying they're forgetting about Meredith, but this girl, she is a background friend. Trust me. Mary and Angie shows up and Lisa's like, oh, Mary's here. What is all that for? They didn't think that Mary was showing up. She didn't decline, did she? Then Meredith says, oh, I guess an hour late is the norm these days. I guess taking a crack or dig at Mary, even though Angie's in the car too. Whatever. I don't know. Anyways, Heather and Whitney, they give their ground rules as to what's going on. One thing I wanted to bring out is if you need to go potty, you're going to they dug a hole for them to do their business in, and absolutely not. You could have rented one of those porta potty things for a day. It's less than $100, and since y'all act like you're rich, y'all could have afforded that at least. We got to talk about Brittany. Brittany went to a Vegas show, and now her and Jared are at the possibility of getting back together, and she's... I don't know. I think we're just not good at staying apart. Lord, these folks shaded her so bad because she took a picture with Johnny Osmond, and they call it puppy love and all this stuff. Jared acting like he's ready to get back with her and all this stuff, and she just falls into it. Can you put a morsel of strength of getting back relationship with your daughters, please? You won't, because you worship men. Then she's talking about, well, I don't know if I want to get back with Jared, while we were apart, I was dating 10 men. This is more than what Angie said. She said, I could do just like the BYU and just kiss. Brittany, I won't say that you slept with all 10 of those men. I do not believe you did not give up your cookies to some of those men. If I'm lying, I'm dying. And I'm well. My God. So then they get in on the subject of soaking. At BYU, I guess if you went to go tell the elders, I guess maybe you got caught doing something. For some reason, you are able to, I'm going to get a little graphic, put your man. Somehow, you're able, they call it soaking. You can put your man in the vajayjay. All you can do is put it in there. If you move, thrust, anything else, that's considered sex, according to the elders. So if they explained that there was no thrusting or pumping or the big O, then you didn't have sex. Okay. I'm just going to tell you this much. I'm not soaking and not getting wet. You can read between the lines on that. So don't ever get it twisted, you Mormons. I know that y'all was doing more than soaking. Y'all was getting wet. Heather says that her great-great-great-grandfather is the creator of potato sack racing, whatever. It was proven to be a lie yet again. Heather been lying all season. For what? I don't know. They do a potato sack race. That was the only thing that they had planned as far as creative. Next, they start hashing out stuff. Angie just tells Brittany, I thought it was weird, so you don't drink wine, but you do drink wine, and all this stuff, 1 minute you're going off of me when I showed up with the wine, and then you were thanking me for the wine after the whole thing was. So that was just kind of weird in regards to all that. Brittany didn't know if she was trying to be funny with her or just really giving her wine. Angie's one of those people that can be shady on the sly. I don't know. I know that I think that she knows that Mormons don't drink, and I think she brought it there anyways as a sneak little shade thing. I think so. And Mary says, Brittany's two-faced it. And then Meredith, and I think somebody else said, she was just explaining her feelings about this. Two-faced. That's what Mary said. Two-faced. That's what was going on. And then Mary got on Meredith. Let's talk about manners and all this stuff. You walking out of my house was very rude. Meredith doesn't think that she's rude. Whitney ends up saying that Meredith is a grudge holder, just like Lisa. Lisa said, don't lie. And then you're a liar. And then Whitney's like, don't call me a liar. And then Lisa brings up, oh, well, Heather, you should hear what Whitney's been saying about you to Brown. And I said, oh, what Brown was saying. And Brown basically said that you and Heather, you and Whitney, you and Angie were telling me, I better watch out for Lisa because she will eventually turn on me. And I'm saying it like that. She will F you over. Angie, did I say that? Whitney, did I say that? They roll back the bean footage. And because Brown said it the way that she said it, they don't think that they said what they said. And it's basically what you said. Is it a little bit more flamboyant? Yeah. But it is exactly what you said, just more colorful. And you're mad about that. And then you act like you didn't say nothing. And that's why, Angie, you haven't even been loyal when you and Lisa were fighting. Lisa's getting all the heat from it. But you've been doing some things that have been shiesty. And I guess that's why Lisa said on the Watch What Happens Live that you are on the naughty and nice list. She's in between right there. Because you play. You play for storylines sometimes. And it's not like I hate it, but I just don't think that you're truthful and you want people to be a certain way with you. And it's a lot of that going on in the show, which is very weird to me. Let's see. Then Mary and Lisa, they get into it about, I think, the grudge holder or whatever, or being fake or whatever. And then Mary says, it's true about Lisa. What is true? You being fake, a liar, and you're the fakest person that I've ever met. Then they start arguing about the jumpsuit and all that stuff. Because Mary had on the jumpsuit on Watch What Happens Live and all that. And Lisa wore it. Lisa saying that, I got it off the runway. I was at the Fendi runway. You bought it in the store, off rack. This was so Claudia Nini coded. But it's like, ma'am, you wore the jumpsuit to come to her home. Mary went to TV and wore hers. Hers was more bedazzled and a lot more fly. And it wasn't even, it showed some type of shadiness in a way. I don't know if you were trying to do that, but why would you wear a jumpsuit even though it was an Audrey Hepburn type of event? That was kind of weird to me. So Mary ended up calling her a dingbat. What you guys don't know is that this is the episode where allegedly Mary had called Henry the R word. The R word could mean a lot of things. We think it was more on the spectrum type of R word type thing that happened. But what happened was Lisa spoke about Robert Jr.'s addiction. And in retaliation, that's what Mary said. But the producers wanted to cut that out. So, I agree that they should have. I know a lot of people are going to fight up against that because they think that Mary gets away with everything anyways. But it would have overshadowed and it would have taken a life of its own on this show where they wouldn't have been able to move on with the show for the rest of the season if they had stuck it right there with what Mary said or allegedly said. But Page 6 made this whole hoopla about that. I don't think that should have ever been released to the public. But, of course, they want to make a story, and I'm sure that Lisa was the one that leaked it to Page 6. But I think it was a good choice. So we have a better ending to this episode than where it left off at. But now it helps me to understand how Lisa was pushing this narrative with Meredith that Mary has been treating Meredith badly. Now I understand. Now you can see where you see later on the episode or whatever. So Angie had said, "Oh, you're not hearing right, Bronwyn. I think you need to get Meredith's hearing aids and turn up the volume." Meredith took it as a dig. She caught a stray because of her hearing aids that she has to wear now, and she took offense to that. And people don't think that it's a big deal. Like, it's kind of like when King has told Sheree about her wearing that tired Mama Joyce wig. It kind of has that same effect. Rowling got mad. She feels like it's unfair that everything I say gets twisted and you guys get to act like what you said wasn't nothing. And Angie was like, I supported you. I don't think that you're this way. Like, no, because you're not going to make me out to be a villain up in here. Rowling ends up walking away, and Meredith walks away because she feels butthurt about the hearing aid joke. That was the end of that thing. So Meredith has a scene. She's having a Shabbat. I'm saying it wrong. Or Shabbat dinner. It's a Jewish dinner. Brittany comes and she brings Jared. Now he's back in her life. Heather comes, Brown comes, and Lisa comes with John. Brown comes with Todd also. Heather, when are you going to get a man? I'm not into thinking that a woman got to have a man all the time, but it's like, when are you going to get a man? We don't even see you date. Nothing. But you have opinions about other people's marriages. I mean, Brittany getting more play, whether it's for the cameras or not, than you. How can she get 10 people to be interested in her? You can't get one. So Heather is talking with Brooks and Chloe. Those are Meredith's children. And I'm Team Brooks, so I don't care what y'all want. Whatever. They got on the subject of soaking again, but this time Heather added another layer: jump humping. Meaning, if you're soaking, the man is in the vajayjay, and you get a third party that jumps on the bed, that's considered jump humping. And it's okay as long as somebody is doing the motion, and if you guys aren't doing the motion, that is too much, and y'all play too much, y'all was having intercourse, that was it. Let's stop that. That is so crazy. Meredith invites everyone that's at the table to her bar mitzvah. We find out that Jared has some Jewish background, even though we know the Osmonds function heavily in Mormonism. And also John, Lisa's John. I guess Lisa did some genealogy background and found, I guess John is adopted or something, and found his real parents, and they were Jewish. Then all of a sudden Todd breaks out and says that when I first met Bronwyn, I did a full background check. And everyone just went kind of, you can hear a pin drop. Ask me, like, Todd, why did you say that? Like, Todd, we've been trying to like you, but then it's like, then you do stuff, it's like, no, don't do that. So, he had a background check done on her. And they were like, oh, did the whole dropping out of school and all this other stuff come up? And she said, yeah, it came up, and then they moved on from that. But it's like, ooh, okay. So Bronwyn was like, Angie was getting feisty with me because I was saying stuff that she didn't want me to say, and that's true. That is true, Angie. I don't care how much people like you this season, but we got to call it for what it is. You were. And Bronwyn says, I'm not mistake-free. I just need you guys to understand that sometimes things can be said in shade when we are mad at each other in heat. And after we say something, after the heat is gone, could be kind of more tongue-in-cheek type of, ha-ha, blah, 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 blah. It's not that same type of sting. And again, she says that I'm not mistake-free. I can be a snarky bitch. And Todd said, don't say that. I was like, Lord. So obviously there's a way that Todd wants Bronwyn to behave in public. And this is not the show to be conservative, Todd. It's cool that you come around, but I wish you wouldn't come around, because I don't want you stifling Bronwyn. She's having an immaculate first season. It's only 11 episodes in. And I don't know how you're going to be. I know you've participated in some other things with Bronwyn. They just did some type of thing with the crumble cookie, some type of ice cream thing where you showed up and showed your support for Bronwyn. Hopefully you are adjusting, because that's not fair for you to do this, and it's ruining her experience on this show. But Bronwyn, if you want to save your marriage, I don't know, you need to have a serious talk. And if it's your marriage or this, I would choose my marriage, unless you are trying to get out of it. Let's see. So then they start talking about Mary again. Meredith feels like Mary's behavior is not usual, like possibly that there's something bigger. And Brittany, being the bigger person, I was shocked when she said that maybe something bigger is going on with her and we should give her some grace, because at that point Lisa was like, Mary is treating quite bad, and To the most important scene of the evening, to the most vulnerable scene we've ever witnessed in the history of Housewives ever. This video is so long, and I'm sorry, it was a supersized episode too, so sue me. Mary and Robert Jr. finally have the talk. Please don't mind the sun and these leaves and all that stuff right now. She comes into his room. She sits down on his little couch area that he has, and he asks, how are you? She asks, how are you, and all that. He says that he took a Xanax, a half a Xanax, and then to even things out, an Adderall, because he had not been sleeping. So obviously he has a lot of experience in having some type of upper or downer in his system, upper and a downer in his system. Mary asks, are you unhappy? He says he doesn't know. They start talking about his DRUG. I don't know if I can say that word on here. When did you start? He said when he was 16. He started off with the other things that they edibles. Can you tell that I don't? Then one time he went to a party and he was introduced to Xanax. Along with Xanax, he started taking Xanax with acid. Then he took a Xanax with Molly. He really loves Xanax, as he does. He's honest about. And then he took Xanax with the Andy Cohen, if you know what I mean. And also he took Xanax with some Oxy. He said he took 10 of them and he still didn't feel anything from it. And I think at that point he knew that he was quite in the mix of everything. You know, he said that Mary did say that she thought that, okay, he may try the Mary Jane in edibles, but I didn't think that he would do anything further. You know, somewhere I missed the mark, knowing that he was doing all this. Mary says that I won't judge you. I want to help you. And do you accept that this is a problem? You know, he said when he was doing all that other stuff with the Xanax and the other, he said at that point that he wanted to unalive himself. And at that point, I just started losing it, because it's just like, I get it. I didn't try the methods that Robert did, but I've had thoughts, and I thought of ways of how to do it. I never went along to do what I wanted to do to unalive myself. He said that he felt like a stain. And that's heartbreaking to hear that happen, or for someone to feel that way. And Mary was like, do you know what it would be if I actually lost you? You can die from this stuff. And then he ended up saying that the only thing that kept him from unaliving himself was Mary. Because Mary was like, you're my best friend, you're my child, you're all of this. Well, she said, you're my friend, you're all of this. They're pretty tight. You can tell that they're pretty tight. And I love you. And I think I love you more than Dad. But don't tell him that. He said, I won't. He said that he was not happy. He's just now starting to feel happy in his life. Like, there's been a breaking, but of course there's still a cloud over him. But it was very heartbreaking for Mary to open herself up. For Robert to do that, I commend both of them to even want to put it on TV. Robert is 21 years old, and he's down in waiver to do this. Anyone that's having any problems with, oh my God, they should handle it privately, can just go do something. I don't know. It's life. Nobody got mad at Whitney when she brought on her father, knowing the addiction that he had. Now he won't show up on television, or show up around her at all, not just on television. So, great episode. This is a long video. I don't know if I apologize. It was great, and I'm glad the story was told. Bravo to Mary. You're doing impeccable this season. For you to want to show back up on Bravo and to give it all after how they treated you is very commendable. Very commendable. If anyone has thoughts of unaliving themselves, don't. And I think that we got to be more kinder to other people. You don't know what kind of impact you can have. Mary came in there with love. A lot of parents would probably freak out if they heard some of the stuff that their children were doing. Have more patience and love and listen to them. That's not an easy thing for Robert to actually confess, even to your mom or someone you thought was a friend. Parents, you need to be a lot more sensitive to your children and let them talk and get to the place of where there's no down judgment. Still have balance and still push them into something greater than what they're even feeling right now, as Mary did. And you would think from someone who's a parent, a black parent, who leads with a lot of judgment that we've just been taught from generation, to say, boy, what's wrong with you? And just berate people that are having a vulnerable moment. And on top of that, she's a pastor. Like, come on. Like, that's how you handle your children when they need you and when they want to be vulnerable. Whew. Bravo to you all. And again, I think we need to be more nice to the people. You don't know what kind of impact you're having on people. You don't know who's going through anything. I mean, Robert, who has the world. I mean, he hasn't had to work a day in his life. And he's had thoughts of leaving this earth. And was going to, he wanted to. And he was using drugs to get on out of here. So, be kind to people. You don't know them. You don't know their story. That's all I do have. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. Give me your comments and subscribe. Again, happy Thanksgiving. And until the next one, peace.